I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the March 22nd, 2018 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I currently serve as the chair. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller, soon to be president.
Good morning.
Good morning. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let us begin with our first item. Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, before we begin, item C4 would be a motion to pull that item. It had some issues that have come up with it, so we would like to rework that and submit it at a later time. So it would be a motion to pull item C4.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye. All opposed? The item passes 3-0. Now we're ready to begin with the first item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 8 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding that?
Move to approve the consent agenda as reported.
A second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
We have the vouchers totaling $974,666.49. Health Insurance Administration is the largest amount, $472,634.87. Holding accounts, $198,543.90. And, of course, the increase in activity at Parks and Recreation, the subtotal of Parks and Rec is $88,125,027. I have no questions. I'll move approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve the correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, emergency management. Number 1, consider approval of request to purchase appliances to complete the Emergency Operations Center kitchen for a total not to exceed $4,800.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols, Emergency Management. This is just a follow-up from our capital outlay request. We got approved, so we move forward, and this is to purchase those items.
And you did come in under budget.
43.
Any questions regarding this item? I'll move to approve
A
the
second.
motion made by Commissioner Cook for approval, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item C, Human Resources. Number 1, consider approval of Resolution number 2018-13, establishing pay ranges for intermittent employees in Shawnee County.
Good morning, Angela Lewis with Human Resources. This item was tabled in 2007 when the minimum wage increased from $5.85 to $7.25. Now, without a doubt, we've always been paying the minimum of $7.25 at the right time. This is just catching the paperwork up.
Any questions regarding the resolution? Or I guess memorandum?
I'll move to adopt the resolution.
A second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C2, consider approval of request to fill Human Resources Labor Relations Officer position at a step 11 and a minimum annual salary of $69,575.60, including benefits.
Good morning. Again, Angela Lewis with Human Resources. We have a candidate who comes highly qualified to this position. He has over 15 years of management experience. He's a strong recruiter and has strong community ties and relations. The HR Labor Relations Officer is vital to Human Resources. This is the position that actually posts our positions and gets them filled. And I think with his addition, we'll be able to post and fill positions faster.
Any questions regarding this?
I'll move to approve the request.
A second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C3, consider approval of request to reclassify a payroll assistant, range 12, step 1, position to a payroll officer, range 14, step 3, with a salary including benefits of $60,040.88.
Good morning. Angela Lewis with Human Resources. Again, would like to reclassify this position. When payroll was in the clerk's office, they had a payroll officer and a payroll assistant. There was a time where we had two very new people, so they were both assistants, and now we have an opportunity to promote one of those people to do a higher level of work. And that's what I'm looking to do here. Worked with Betty and Jennifer, and we do have the money in the HR budget to sustain this salary.
And so this would be putting that person commensurate with what they're doing?
Yes.
Any questions regarding that?
I'll move approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Our next item.
4 has been pulled. Item D, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C98-2018 with Sunflower Foundation Healthcare for Kansans for a grant in the amount of $110,000 for completion of a fitness trail encircling Gage Park along Westchester Road from 10th Street to 6th Street.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby with Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. You can kind of see the trail system going around Gage Park. This is the final step with the letter of agreement with the foundation, Sunflower Foundation, for their portion of the grant, which is $110,000. We will match that, and that is the western side of Gage Park. If you recall, the northern section is funded through a 80-20 split with the Wildlife and Parks grant. We have hired Conroy Construction to begin work. They're going to begin here in the next couple weeks, and this is just finishing up the agreement with Sunflower Grant. Be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Questions regarding this?
I might have one.
Yes.
When's the completion date for it, Randy?
They were, I think it was 90 days once they start.
Okay.
So we're hoping, I believe that's what,
Really quick.
if I remember the contract with Conroy.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. I think this looks great, and it adds more value to Gage Park, fitness. I know that this is part of our, again, health initiative and getting people out and exercising and using the trails in our community. So this is an excellent addition to Gage Park. I'll move approval of the authorization execution of the agreement with Sunflower Foundation Healthcare of Kansas.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of contract C99-2018 with Greater Topeka Rowing Association to host the 2018 Spring Regatta on April 28, 2018, with a fee of $700 payable to Parks and Recreation and the Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Foundation, along with in-kind services for Lake Shawnee special events to offset operation expenses.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Osborne, Parks and Recreation. The contract in front of you is with Greater Topeka Rowing Association, and they do perform that in late April. I do have William Pope, who's the Community Events and Amenities Supervisor, with me. If you have any real detailed questions within the contract, he'd be happy to answer any of those as well.
Questions regarding this agreement?
I'll move to approve the contract.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck, and look forward to it. Our next item.
Item E, Register of Deeds, number 1, consider approval of request for payment from the Land Records Fund in an amount of $119,150 for various items for the appraiser and Public Works Solid Waste.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Neosi, Shawnee County Register of Deeds. Just to give you a little background on the Land Records Fund, the Register of Deeds collects $2 on each page, and if there are excess monies at the end of the year, those monies can be used for other offices. We have a committee set up to make sure that those are used appropriately, because they do need to be used for equipment, or technological services relating to the land or property records filed or maintained by the county. Excuse me. And the requests came in, and these are for the next budget year normally, 2019. There were a few items that needed to be purchased for 2018. There are 8 items, and most of them are for software for the appraiser's office and mapping. There's a document storage cabinet for maps, a color copier for the, and those 2 are for the Public Works, and a high-speed scanner for the appraiser's office. All of those met the requirements according to the committee, so I'm recommending that these be approved. If you have any questions, Steve Bauman wasn't able to make it today, so he's not here. He has most of the requests from the appraiser's office. I do believe the Public Works Department is here. So I'd be happy to answer anything that you might have to.
Might note that there is an attachment to the memorandum that outlines each one of the requests, and in that, there is also a detailed statement as to what the need is and why those are needed, including operations of the offices, making sure that they operate efficiently for customer service, talking about that if a piece of equipment goes down, there could be backlog, and that this is necessary for the continuity of the operations. So I appreciate having all of that detailed information there. Commissioners, any other questions or comments?
No. I'll move approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item F, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to transfer residual 2014 countywide one-half sales tax dedicated to bridge funds from the completed Northwest Carlton Bridge, Willard Bridge over the Kansas River project to the Southeast 29th Street Bridge over Deer Creek project in amount of $2,738,721.59.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block with Public Works and Solid Waste. Just to refresh your memory a little bit, when we initially set up the funding program for the Willard Bridge, this commission had given approval to use any excess monies from the sales tax program and dedicate it to the Willard Bridge. So that was, I think, in the $7.5 to $8 million range, if I recall. And then, we also utilized the no-interest loan from KDOT, and then some funds we had set aside over the years for this project. Well, as you know, we ended up getting extremely good bids in which we did not have to use all the excess funds from the Willard Bridge, from the sales tax program for the Willard Bridge. And after all the accounting has been done, of that $7.5 or $8 million, we still have the $2.738 million remaining. And to make sure that we follow in accordance with what the voters had approved in the sales tax referendum, we would like to take that and apply it to the bridge, because the bridge is one of the items that was approved by the voters to use the sales tax funds for. So that is what our request is to, I guess, transfer the excess bridge from the Willard Bridge that originally came from the excess funds from the sales tax program and stick it into the 29th Street Bridge over Deer Creek, which is the bridge just on the north side of Lake Shawnee Spillway. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Commissioners, any questions regarding this? Commissioner Archer?
Well, a couple of items. You bring up a good point about keeping faith with the voters and using sales tax money the way it's supposed to be used. That's important. We hear a lot about infrastructure these days nationwide. Can you give us an overview of county bridges, what shape they're in, what we need to do to make sure that they continue to be safe?
Yes, in fact, just before I came down this morning, I had a discussion with Mr. Flanagan about it, and we every year, not every year, every other year, we have what's called a biennial bridge inspection, where we have a consulting firm go out and do an inspection of all our bridges, and then they rate them as far as their loading capacities, whether they're structurally deficient or not, or functionally obsolete or not. And then we prioritize the bridges that rise to the top as far as what needed to be replaced. Overall, on our whole bridge system, with the completion of the Willard Bridge, that was the last fracture critical bridge the county had to be replaced. And then again, fracture critical means that if it were to fail, it didn't have any adjacent supporting members in the bridge to help it from collapsing. So we have replaced all of those bridges. We still have some that are structurally deficient, which just means that they can't handle can't handle the legal loading, like 80,000 pounds. I mean, so they have weight limits potentially on them. And then there are some also that they're called functionally obsolete, which basically means they don't really meet the design standards. Just over the years, they may have been built in the 50s or 60s in vehicles and semis and agriculture equipment just has grown bigger and bigger over the years. So they may not be quite wide enough to for one of those vehicles just to flow, at regular speeds. They really have to be careful to get across them, or they may not be able to get across them at all, but just due to the width. So anyway, so getting rid of all the fracture critical bridges is really a good thing for the county. Now we are going to be picking off the structurally deficient, which is a higher priority than the functionally obsolete. But we, right now, as I recall, we've got probably around 30 or low 30 number of bridges that are either functionally obsolete or structurally deficient. And those are the bridges that we are now starting to put in the works in our plan to have replaced with the current half-cent sales tax program. So that's what we have now. But that does not mean that's all we'll have, because as the time goes on and weather and inclement weather and just the environment, has wear and tear on the bridges, more of the bridges that we have will come onto that list. In fact, the discussion I had this morning, we're going to do some reprioritizing, because there have been some bridges that have deteriorated quicker over the last couple of years than some others, so it's actually they've moved themselves up on top of the list. But overall, overall as a county, I think Shawnee County, is doing really well as far as taking care of its bridge system. I mean, this sales tax program has done wonders for our ability to keep up with that infrastructure. And comparing ourselves to other counties, I think a lot of counties wish they were in our position. And it's truly, we owe our thanks to the voters who saw the need and agreed that bridges are an important part of the infrastructure system that we have, because they truly are. If you've ever had a bridge out, you know what kind of inconvenience that can cause to a lot of people. So we're really in pretty decent shape. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do, but we've come a long ways in the last 15 years or so.
Okay.
So.
Tom, to remind our individuals, the monies that we're taking to the 29th Street, this was one of our deficient bridges that we had identified.
Yeah, oh, yes, it was.
And that was due to this was a bridge that was built during 1930, WPA.
Yeah, it's 80, 90 years old, I believe.
And the reason why we're wanting to replace it is due to the deterioration under the bridge with the supports.
Yes, underneath the part of the bridge that no one can see, the underside had really starting to deteriorate and is needing to be replaced.
Also, the traffic flow has changed on 29th Street over the last 90 years.
Yes. I believe, if I recall, we get between 13,000 and 14,000 vehicles per day.
Wow.
And that's really pushing it for a 2-lane roadway.
And so our intent is to have this as a 4-lane or
5-lane, actually.
5-lane.
We'll make it, because we'll make it 5-lane all the way, because right now, from California to the KTA bridge, there, the bridge that goes over the KTA and is under the maintenance and jurisdiction of the KTA is the dividing line between the city limits and county's jurisdiction on 29th Street. I think it's 5 lane, maybe it's only 4 lane on the west side of the KTA bridge, but we have 5 lane out by Croco Road coming back towards the west up to that little commercial area. We are going to make it 5 lane all the way from the KTA bridge all the way to Croco now to complete that corridor there.
Now, our timeline for this, so just so as we've talked about people that are inconvenienced with bridges and roadways being out, what is our timeline again?
Our timeline right now is we are quite far in design, and we are now, and we are quite far in right-of-way negotiation. We've got quite a few people already signed up for right-of-way easements. Our goal right now, our focus right now, and as you know, with road projects, getting utilities out of the way ahead of time is critical. And the city of Topeka is embarking upon a major water line replacement project to get in ahead of our road project, and they are going to be letting that, I believe, within the next couple of weeks. So they will have a major water line project going on this year along 29th Street. So we're trying to focus on the right-of-way easements, and they will be placing their water line in the easements that we acquire. So we're really focusing on getting those easements in place so that that's not an issue for them, and we're pretty confident we'll be able to do that. So there will be water line construction going on all this year. Our intent is to bid the road project and bridge project next December or January, with construction starting next March, most likely. And what we're thinking of doing right now, and maybe even starting earlier, because we haven't really finalized exactly when that will come in place, but what we're wanting to do is to get in and out of there as quickly as possible during the slow parts of the year. We may look at doing a total closure when we replace the bridge, and that may take 90 days, and get that opened up hopefully before April, before people start going out to the lake in droves and activities really start going up, and then we would have the bridge open, and then we'd be able to allow traffic along 29th Street during the rest of the construction. So that would be beginning, and it's going to be a two-year construction project. So we would go from the KTA bridge out to about Wittenberg in year 1 in 2019, and then we would go from Wittenberg out to Croco in 2020. So that's the current plan.
And then also, just to reassure our history geeks in the community that are concerned with us paving over our history, and this being an older bridge, we're trying to maintain the historical qualities of the bridge in its design.
Yes, we are trying to make it look as aesthetically as close as possible as we can to the existing bridge, and also tie it into some of the up on the spillway. There's nice rock work or block work or whatever you call those segments. We're trying to match it in with that so it'll blend in together. But it should be a very aesthetically pleasing bridge when we're said and done.
Okay. Questions?
No.
Thank you for the update on this. Is there a motion to approve the request of the transfer?
So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
If there's any department heads or members of the public that have anything to bring to the Commission's attention, please do so.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby with Parks and Recreation. The item I had before you touched on the Gage Park Trail. Just kind of give you a little update. As you are aware, our master plan called for trying to connect our up to 150 miles of trails in Shawnee County. We currently have just under 60 with the paved and natural surface. But the trails plan that was divided, let me see if I can get to that slide here. The connecting ones. The trails plan that was devised 20, 25 years ago probably needs to have a group come together and sit down and revise it. There's a lot of areas that have grown since in 20, 25 years, and we're going to need to look at this plan and see all our proposals for the all of Shawnee County. If I go back up to that one, it's kind of hard to understand, but all these are different trails. And as you can see, Lake Sherwood kind of sits outside of the city limits, which is the green line going all the way around. We don't have connectivity anywhere around there. And that's important when they're going, trying to get funding for grants. If you apply for a grant and don't have connected to this trail system, they're not going to give you the grant. So it's important that we go back and look at this plan overall and try to revise it to where it's needed. And I just wanted to kind of bring that to your attention a little bit, because we got a long ways to go to get 150, and there's a lot of, we don't have the land, we got to get the land, we got to get the connectivity from our communities, neighborhoods to the trails. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention this morning.
Thank you. I think that's important. We were just discussing the 29th Street Bridge. If you go back one slide,
Yep.
there is the, I guess 2 slides,
Maybe it's this way. It's this way.
there we are. Our purple, future Deer Creek Trail is right along the 29th
I
Street.
think I even got a better one right there.
There we are. So as we're working on the 29th Street expansion, incorporating that into our expansion of the trail, with the ultimate goal of being able to have the Shunga Trail connect through Deer Creek to Lake Shawnee.
And the yellow is the Deer Creek that we just received grant information on, that we'll be getting started on in the next year or so also. So yes, it's coming together. So
Can we go back to the other slide? Keep
That
going.
that's the
more.
one in our trail.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that there's a tremendous concentration of trail on the east side and up in the Oakland area, and little, if any, in the west and southwestern part of our county. So obviously, we've neglected that area in planning our trail system. Do you agree?
Exactly. I totally agree. And I think that's why it's important that we get people back together on this Trails Committee and start to revise the plan for future additions. Like I said, if you're not connected to this, you can't get funding for it. So
Yeah.
they all go together.
Yeah, I think it's important that we strike a balance, and obviously, we're very unbalanced at this point. Thank you, Randy.
I would
Thank you,
agree.
Mr. Chair.
But I think also, if we look at the 45th Street, when the Public Works was doing the work on 45th Street, we were making the space and the allocation for future trails along 45th Street when that funding became identified, so that we can continue to connect Lake Shawnee to Landon Trail. Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, just so everyone's aware, I don't know this is necessarily always part of the trail plan, but what we try to do when we're doing projects like this, and including the 29th Street project, is when we do a road reconstruction project, we attempt to, well, we've been doing, is adding instead of just 5-foot sidewalks on both sides, we'll make one side 10-foot wide, so it can be a multi-use pathway. And we did that on 45th, even though I don't think it shows up here on the map as the trail system, but it is the same thing. And we will do this, and we did the same thing out on
Urish.
Urish and on
Wanamaker.
29.
And Wanamaker.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
even though it may not be part of the actual trail plan, it is access for people to use it as such. So, and that's what we try to do, and that's what we will be doing going forward.
So I think those, maybe update on the map too, adding those other multi-purpose to show that there is some balance, and it's not completely unbalanced, but there is a need to balance out the county.
Well, I think, too, both the city and the county have adopted complete street policies, and I know that everybody is following those design standards now, and we've got the bike and the pedestrian plans, so there's a lot of different layers to this, not just
That's what we said, we
trails.
need to update so we get the information
Sure.
out to the public
Sure,
correctly.
very good.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Bueller, anything to announce?
All the announcing is finished, but very excited to begin at Hayden, and I do want you both to know, because I haven't had a chance to, I can't talk with you, so I to express my intent to fulfill my term through December until somebody takes the seat in January, so I'm still here.
Good, glad to
For a
have you.
while.
Yes. Congratulations on the new position.
Yes. Thank you.
And look forward to having you serve out the rest of your term.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Archer, anything?
I was just good to see Randy with a tie on, and that's about it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This Saturday, if anybody has nothing else to do this afternoon, on Saturday afternoon, at Hillcrest, we're going to be having a opening of the new additions to Hillcrest Community Center. We have outdoor exercise equipment, talking about the additions to the pool, the investments made into the Hillcrest Community Center, and I believe that the activities start at 10 with this process of the actual ceremony at 12:30. And so, welcome everybody out to that. I mean, it's a great addition to our Hillcrest Community Center, which is one of the most heavily used community centers in our block of parks and activities. So, welcome everybody out there on Saturday at 12:30.
Good deal.
Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is not a need for an executive session today, so we are adjourned.